Welcome to another educational video by Catspit Productions. Today we're going to briefly go over washing out one of your screens. It's very hot in my shop today, so I'm a little bit sweaty, and I'm going to try to get through this as easily as possible and hopefully without any snags. We're going to burn this screen again. We're going to burn it again just to show you. This is an actual production screen that was used to print a job with the Crests. But today, we're just going to burn this part. And I already have a screen that was coated with emulsion and has been exposed in the light table with this film. And I have it in a bag, a black garbage bag, so that I can keep it light safe until I put it in the sink and wet it down. Okay, so we're going to move up for a closer shot, and then we're going to wash out the screen, and hopefully you'll get to see what it looks like as the latent image appears in the emulsion and then eventually washes out. Okay, and remember that you should really have a proper washout booth. This is a makeshift situation here. A proper washout booth would probably be about waist high, so you can stand up, has a tub, and a backlight with a rack that holds these screens so that as you spray them, they don't slide and slip around and stuff. So you can Google washout booths and get more information on that. But just note that this is a makeshift situation here. I don't own a washout booth, so I'm working on that though. Okay, so let's get the exposed screen into the sink, move the camera up closer, and wash out the screen. Get our stencil ready for print. Okay, so as soon as you bring out your screen, you want to wet it down right away. Wet it down on both sides. And I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but the latent image is starting to appear. And always remember that this side, the inkwell side, is always going to be a little bit slimy for t-shirt screens, because the way the light source doesn't penetrate quite all the way through, so you're going to have some slime on this side. And that's pretty normal. So first we just kind of wet it down, let it saturate a little bit. And now you can start to see that the emulsion is starting to dissolve. Okay, and what I'm doing here is I'm agitating the emulsion a little bit on this substrate side. You have to be careful when you do this. You could actually wipe off parts of your detail. I wouldn't suggest doing this unless you really are comfortable with it. Okay, as you can see, I'm using a garden hose. And as it starts to come out, I'm going to put the nozzle on a finer and start to push out the emulsion completely. See? Okay, now this side, I'm not going to push it through. I'm going to rinse it a little bit. Try to rinse some of that slime. Okay, and that looks pretty good. So now what I would do is I'm going to hold this up to the light, and I would look through my stencil to make sure that there are no portions of emulsion that haven't washed out. Now another good thing to do, if you can, it's nice to have another hose for this, so you don't have to do what I'm doing right now. But if you can do this, this is like after you're done washing it out, you do this kind of sheeting action. Okay, and you just kind of let the water sheet down on both sides, and that really helps rinse out the slime. Okay, because sometimes, like I said, this side is going to be a little bit less exposed. So you can see it's a lighter blue than this side. You see that? This side is very cured and very hard. This side is a little bit more soft. So what happens is there's a film on here. You see that? If you can see that, as I rub here, the emulsion is actually coming off. Now, what happens is the water, it sheets over with this film, and it can clog it can clog the stencil that you just rinsed out. So that's why we do the sheeting action. You go like this, and just let it sheet over. And that should really help that quite a bit. Now, at this point, if you're fortunate enough to have a air compressor in your shop, you can use very, 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 very low pressure. And after the screen dries a little bit, there'll still be water in the stencil, and then you can use the air compressor, again, with very, very low pressure, and just kind of blow out the water. Just like that, with that noise, right? Okay. And that way you will avoid any of that filming that happens and will tend to clog, especially finer detail. Okay? So, that's washing it out. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to reclaim this screen. Obviously, before we go ahead and reclaim it, obviously, this screen is ready to go. You set it down and let it dry. You're going to let the emulsion dry completely. You're going to blow out some of this moisture in the stencil if you have an air compressor, if you want to. And you're going to let the screen dry completely before you go to press. And actually, if you remember from my article of the general overview of screen printing, once the screen is dry, you're going to check for pinholes and block up all your pinholes. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to reclaim this screen. Now, you really want a pressure washer to do this. My pressure washer broke today. As I came in to do these videos, my pressure washer no longer functions. So, we're going to try to do it with the garden hose, and because this is a brand new stencil, we just made it, it's still wet and it hasn't been printed with, we'll probably be able to do it with the hose. But you're going to need a pressure washer for many stencils to push out some of the heavier things of emulsion. Watch, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so we're going to spray our emulsion remover or stencil remover. You want to spray that onto both sides. Okay, and you can see right away, look at that. Okay, that's emulsion remover or stencil remover. This is a really good one. If you guys want this one, I could get you this one. Okay, and let's turn the water on. And that's pretty much it. Now, I might not be able to, you can push, it's easier to push it through from the inkwell side. Remember, because the heavier deposit is actually on the substrate side. So, if you have some difficult areas, just go ahead through the inkwell side. And you should be able to get most of them out. Okay, now I can't get that little heavy deposit off. It's really just a big blob. And like I said, a pressure washer is really ideal for this. Okay, and that's it. It's reclaimed. Now you would have to degrease it and dry it again before you coat it with emulsion for the next use. Okay? And so that's reclaiming the screen. Pretty simple, pretty easy if you have good chemicals. And there are a lot of good chemicals on the market available for you today. If you have any questions on chemicals, feel free to message me and I'll respond to all questions.